Electrical Safety Program. Purpose. The Electrical Safety Program is designed to prevent electrically related injuries and property damage. This program also provides for proper training of employees to ensure that they have requisite knowledge and understanding of electrical work practices and procedures. Only employees qualified in this program may conduct adjustment, repair, or replacement of electrical components or equipment. Electricity has long been recognized as a serious workplace hazard, exposing employees to such dangers as electric shock, electrocution, fires, and explosions. Employees. These people are responsible for reporting electrical deficiencies immediately, not working on electrical equipment unless authorized and trained, properly inspecting all electrical equipment prior to use. Hazard control. The departments or areas of our company identified as having electrically operated equipment and/or wiring installations are the manufacturing and construction sites. Engineering controls. All electrical distribution panels, breakers, disconnects, switches, and junction boxes shall be completely enclosed. Watertight enclosures shall be used when there is a possibility of moisture entry either from operations or weather exposure. Electrical distribution areas will be guarded against accidental damage by locating in specifically designed rooms, use of substantial guard posts and rails, and other structural means. A clear approach and 3-foot side clearance shall be maintained for all distribution panels. All conduit shall be fully supported throughout its length. Non-electrical attachments to conduit are prohibited. All non-rigid cords shall be provided strain relief where necessary. Administrative controls. Only trained and authorized maintenance employees may conduct repairs to electrical equipment. Contractors performing electrical work must hold a license for the rated work. Areas under new installation or repair will be sufficiently guarded with physical barriers and warning signs to prevent unauthorized entry. Access to electrical distribution rooms is limited to those employees who have a need to enter. All electrical control devices shall be properly labeled. Work on energized circuits is prohibited unless specifically authorized by senior facility management. All qualified employees will follow established electrical safety procedures and precautions. Personal protective equipment. Qualified employees will wear electrically rated safety shoes and boots. All tools used for electrical work shall be properly insulated. Electrical rated gloves shall be available for work on electrical equipment. Electrically rated matting will be installed in front of all distribution panels in electric utility rooms. Electrical equipment. Examination. Electrical equipment shall be free from recognized hazards that are likely to cause death or serious physical harm to employees. Safety of equipment shall be determined using the following considerations. Suitability for installation and use. Listing may evidence suitability of equipment for an identified purpose or labeling for that identified purpose. Mechanical strength and durability, including, for parts designed to enclose and protect other equipment, the adequacy of the protection thus provided. Electrical insulation. Heating effects under conditions of use. Arcing effects. Classification by type, size, voltage, current capacity, and specific use. Other factors which contribute to the practical safeguarding of employees using or likely to come in contact with the equipment. Training. Plaas Incorporated does not train employees to a qualified level. Plaas Incorporated will verify any qualified employees placed by our company has received the appropriate training in the skills and techniques necessary to identify exposed live parts, determine nominal voltages and clearance distances, and corresponding voltages, and is certified to perform electrical work prior to replacement at a client site. The format we follow for our training program includes an orientation to basic electrical hazards and a review of the hazardous energy control procedures. The Lockout tagout training program consists of classroom training and on-the-job machine and function-specific training as applicable. The procedure we follow when training new employees who will be working on or near electrical equipment or circuitry are directed by the manager of safety, who will ensure the new employees receive the safety orientation training and that a supervisor will conduct more specific training as applicable to the job assignment. Training for non-qualified employees. Employees who face the risk of electrical shock but who are not qualified persons shall be trained and familiar with electrically related safety practices. Training for non-qualified employees will consist of general electrical safety precautions to provide an awareness and understanding of electrical hazards. Electrical safety rules for non-qualified workers. Do not conduct any repairs to electrical equipment. Report all electrical deficiencies to your foreman. Do not operate equipment if you suspect an electrical problem. Remember that water and electricity do not mix. Do not use cords or plugs if the ground prong is missing. Do not overload electrical receptacles. Personal protective equipment. Employees working in areas where the potential contact with exposed electrical sources are present and likely will be provided and shall use personal protective equipment, PPE. Conductive items of jewelry or clothing shall not be worn unless they are rendered non-conductive by covering, wrapping, or other insulating means. The following rules apply to the use and care of PPE. Number 1, PPE shall be used where contact with exposed electrical sources is present and likely. Number 2, PPE shall be designed for the work being performed and environment in which it is being used. Number 3, PPE shall be visually inspected and or tested before use. Any defects or damages shall be replaced, repaired, or discarded. Number 4, in cases where the insulating capabilities of the PPE may be damaged during the work, a protective outer cover such as leather may be used. Employees shall wear non-conductive head protection wherever there is danger of injury from electrical burns or shock from contact with exposed energized parts. Employees shall wear protective eye-face equipment whenever there is danger from electrical arc or flashes or from flying objects resulting from an electrical explosion. Electrical PPE inspection schedule. Type of equipment, when to test. Rubber insulating line hose, upon indication that insulating valve is suspect. Rubber insulating covers, upon indication that insulating valve is suspect. Rubber insulating blankets, before first issue and every 12 months. Rubber insulating gloves, before first issue and every 6 months. Rubber insulating sleeves, before first issue and every 12 months. Illumination. Employees may not enter spaces containing exposed energized parts unless illumination is provided that enables the employees to work safely. Where the lack of illumination or an obstruction precludes observation of the work to be performed, employees may not perform tasks near energized exposed parts. Employees may not reach blindly into areas which may contain energized parts. Conductive materials and equipment. Conductive materials and equipment that are in contact with any part of an employee's body shall be handled in a manner that will prevent them from contacting exposed energized conductors or circuit parts. If an employee must handle long dimensional conductive objects such as ducts or pipes in areas with exposed live parts, Plaas Incorporated shall institute work practices such as the use of insulation, guarding, and material handling techniques which will minimize the hazard. Electrical logout and tagout requirements. A lock and a tag shall be placed on each disconnecting means used to degenerize circuits and equipment on which work is to be performed. See the Lockout-Tagout written program for further information. The lock shall be attached so as to prevent persons from operating the disconnecting means unless they resort to undue force or the use of tools. Number 2, each tag shall contain a statement prohibiting unauthorized operation of the disconnecting means and removal of the tag. Number 3, if a lock cannot be applied, a tag may be used without a lock. Number 4, a tag used without a lock must be supplemented by at least one additional safety measure that provides a level of safety equivalent to that obtained by the use of a lock. Examples of additional safety measures include the removal of an isolating circuit element, blocking of a controlling switch, or opening of an extra disconnecting device. Number 5, a lock may be placed without a tag only under the following conditions. A, only one circuit or piece of equipment is de-energized, and B, the lockout period does not extend beyond the work shift, and C, employees exposed to the hazards associated with re-energizing the circuit or equipment are familiar with this procedure. Working at elevated locations. Any employee working on an electrical equipment on a crane or other elevation must take necessary precautions to prevent a fall from reaction to electrical shock or other causes. A second person knowledgeable as a safety watch must assume the best possible position to assist the worker in case of an accident. Portable ladders shall have non-conductive side rails if they are used where the employee of the ladder could contact exposed energized parts. Working on or near overhead power lines, minimum approach distances. If work is to be performed near overhead lines, the line shall be de-energized and grounded, or other protective measures shall be provided before work is started. If the lines are to be de-energized, arrangements shall be made with the person or organization that operates or controls the electrical circuits involved to de-energize and ground them. If protective measures such as guarding, isolating, or insulating are provided, these precautions shall prevent employees from contacting such lines directly with any part of their body or indirectly through conductive materials, tools, or equipment. Employees who are not qualified persons will not be prohibited from working in a tree that is closer than 10 feet to the power line so long as that person or any object he or she may be using does not come within 10 feet of the power line. However, qualified persons can perform the work if the worker or any object he or she may be using will come within 10 feet of an exposed energized part, or if a branch being cut may be expected to come within 10 feet of an exposed energized part while falling from the tree. The purpose for the approach distance requirements is to prevent contact with and/or arcing from energized overhead power lines. The approach distance applies to tools used by employees as well as the employees themselves. The table below calls for the following approach distances for qualified employees only. When a non-qualified person is working in an elevated position near overhead lines, the location shall be such that the person and the longest conductive object he or she may come in contact with come closer to any unguarded, energized overhead line than the following distances. When a non-qualified person is working on the ground in the vicinity of overhead lines, the person may not bring any conductive object closer to unguarded, energized overhead lines than the distance given in Table 2. The standard for electrical safety-related work practices can be applied with respect to electrical hazards related to any size, utilization, or configuration of overhead power lines in general industry. Example, residential power lines, remotely located overhead power lines, temporarily rigged overhead power lines, and overhead power lines along streets and alleys. General protective equipment and tools. General protective equipment and tools shall be used when in proximity of or working on exposed energized parts. The following rules apply. Work on or near exposed energized parts is limited to qualified employees. Qualified employees shall use insulated tools or handling equipment suitable for the voltage present and working environment. In cases where the insulation may be damaged, a protective outer layer should be employed. Fuse handling equipment insulated for the circuit voltage shall be used to remove or install fuses where the terminal is energized. Ropes and other hand lines used near exposed energized equipment shall be non-conductive. Warnings and barricades. Warnings and barricades will be used to alert non-qualified employees of the present danger related to exposed energized parts. The following rules apply. Number 1, safety signs, warning tags, etc. must be used to warn non-qualified employees of the electrical hazards present, even temporarily, that may endanger them. Non-conductive barricades shall be used with safety signs to prevent non-qualified employees access to exposed energized parts or areas. Where barricades, number 3, where barricades and warning signs do not provide adequate protection from electrical hazards, an attendant shall be stationed to warn and protect employees. Powered equipment safety rules. Electrical equipment is defined as cord or plug type electrical devices which include the use of flexible or extension cords. Examples of portable electrical equipment include powered hand tools, powered bench tools, fans, radios, etc. The following safety rules apply to portable electrical equipment, PEE. Number 1, PEE shall be handled in such a manner as not to cause damage. Power cords may not be stapled or otherwise hung in a way that may cause damage to the outer jacket or insulation. Number 2, PEE shall be visually inspected for damage, wear, cracked, or split outer jackets of it or insulation, etc. before use or before each shift. PEE that remain connected once put in place need not be inspected until relocated. Any defects such as a cracked or split outer jacket or insulation must be repaired, replaced, or placed out of service. Number 3, always check the compatibility of cord sets and receptacles for proper use. Number 4, ground type cords sets may only be used with ground type receptacles when used with equipment requiring a ground type conductor. Number 5, attachment plugs and receptacle may not be altered or connected in a way that would prevent the proper continuity of the equipment grounding conductor. Adapters may not be used if they interrupt the continuity of the grounding conductor. Number 6, only portable electrical equipment that is double insulated or designed for use in areas that are wet or likely to contact conductive liquids may be used. Number 7, employees that are wet or have wet hands may not handle PEEs, plug in, unplug, etc. Personal protective equipment must be used when handling PEEs that are wet or covered with a conductive liquid. Number 8, locking type connectors shall be properly secured after connection to a power source. Electrical Safety Learning Experience, Plaas Incorporated. Number 1, electrical safety related work practices are intended for, the answer is D, all of the above. Number 2, lockout tagout procedures. The answer is B, are used with electrical safety related work practices. Number 3, when working near overhead power lines, the answer is A, stay at least 10 feet from the lines. Number 4, in this standard, a qualified employee is one who, the answer is D, both B and C. Number 5, if you are working in a vehicle with its structure lowered near overhead lines, the answer is B, stay at least 4 feet away from the lines. Number 6, interlock devices can be bypassed. The answer is B, only by a qualified person. Number 7, it is permissible to use a tag alone if, the answer is D, both A and C. Number 8, if you come across a piece of equipment that appears to be de-energized but is not locked or tagged, you would, the answer is C, assume the equipment is energized or live and treat it as such. Number 9, when working near exposed energized parts, the answer is A, remove all jewelry. Number 10, when performing housekeeping duties near exposed live parts, and the answer is C, use a barrier or insulating device.